Hi, good morning, viewers. Rise and shine with Global Entertainment News Morning Boss. I'm your host, Steven, ready to kickstart your day with all fresh news and stories. And right here with me, bringing our own spark to the studio is.
Hello.
Let's dive into today's headline, fresh from the Punch and Vanguard newspaper. Today's top story from the Punch: Edo Varsity students, 208 others held as NDLEA seized 777 million naira drugs. The Edo State Commander of the Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Michel Ofoyeju, on Monday said that the command confiscated drugs worth 777 million and arrested 209 suspected drug traffickers, consisting of 229 male and 80 females. One of them, the female, is a female 300 level student of Abus Ali University, Epoma, in the last 6 months. Ofoyeju, who made this disclosure when he addressed a press conference ahead of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, said the students who failed from Uromi in the Isian North-East local government area claimed to have ventured into drug trafficking to offset the loan she collected from a microfinance bank. The commander said if the suspects were successful in making such huge amounts from the sales of illicit drugs, they would have money to carry out their nefarious activities. He said through our evidence-led operation, we were able to seize drugs worth 770 million, and that means they would have had money to continue with their nefarious activities. The 300 level student of Abu Salim University claimed that have ventured into criminal activities. But I think this is actually very, very it's
This is I will say that this is the state that most of the young, let me not say students, the youth has actually decided to follow into the illegal ways of actually acquiring money and all that because it feels like since there's no law in the country, and everyone can go scot-free with whatever they are doing. So it's not even just the drugs alone that we are talking about. Youth of Nigeria this time around are into ritualists, kidnapping, theft, I realize it's cyber crime and all that, and then we are actually wondering how has it gotten this bad into it? Is it we are not even going to say it's peer pressure this time around. I will not even put it that way that it is now peer pressure that looking at your mate doing the things because if you are going to have a mate that is already at the age of 18 years and then you are seeing them lodging in a hotel, spending money online, and then you haven't even gotten anywhere and then you are already feel pressured about your mates. People, the older ones that have already worked their way into wealth, you are feeling like you need to. It's we need to really come into this, and then parents have a lot to do. Same thing with this the citizen and all that. It's not everything that you see is that people are coming online to do that you needed to be feel pressure about. Someone now that is already in 300 level that still have a future is already being arrested for drug trafficking and selling drugs in school. And if we're going to look in the medical way now, we are going to see that youths now are even into, let me not say into, they are already going to be diagnosed with mental problem and all that.
well, I think it's not something we should advise students at an early stage. It's something they should have as a future stage. It's something they should have been advised a long time ago. I believe most of all these students are actually, to me, I believe they are going a lot. It doesn't support the fact that they have to go into illegal ways of making money. I tell you, there are so many things happening around the world of education. Some students are actually going through a lot. Some are even in school to be able to they are the ones catering for themselves, paying their school fees and doing everything. But it doesn't support the fact that the best way for you to do this is going to um, illegal activities like that by selling drugs. I believe there are this loan.
There was
I think there's this loan app for students now in school. You can go through that process,
there
but not going through selling illicit drugs outside.
there was a post I saw yesterday about one guy, a man that actually when it comes to education, he always wanted to support. And then he made a statement that when you hear the word school is a scam, it's actually not as if school is a scam, but because we have a leader that actually robust of it. Because when you look around, you're going to see those that struggle so much to get out of school, and then they ended up driving tricycle on the road. They ended up being a Okada rider, and then they ended up. But the person that didn't even being a best in school is already getting connection to work in a facility in a company that he or she is not even qualified for because he has a relative in a political field and all that. But this thing is not done accordingly and is not done well. So if we are going to be looking at a lot of youth now going into this thing of illegal activities just to make money, is because they have already seen that school education is not going to pay them. If they come out, they might end up driving a tricycle or working as a house help for someone when they have their qualification, and it's really sad in the country.
Or moving away from illicit drugs, 4 killed, 3,000 displaced in renewed Nasarawa Elder attack. Four thief farmers lost their lives after sustaining gunshot injuries during an attack by herders in the southern senatorial district of Nasarawa State, while others are still battling for survival in disclosed hospital in the state. The president of the Thief Youth Organization, Isia Azaya Audu, who addressed a press briefing in Lafia, the state capital, on Monday, also said not fewer than 3,000 thief farmers in the area have been displaced following renewed clashes with herdsmen in the area. He described the recent attack in three communities in the Doma, Kena, and Obi local government area of the state as a ploy by the herdsmen to take over their lands for grazing and farming purpose. Lamenting that it has been a recurring incident every farming season, he said the cause of the killing are complicated. We can say it's also about land grabbing. This has been occurring anytime the farmer season comes. At the moment, over 3,000 chiefs in region have been displaced. During the last head count, we had 1,851 persons in Kadaku Internal Displaced Person Camp.
Well, this thing about this header trying to, it's the same thing that is happening in Benue where over 200 people were being killed, burnt, and like it's something that I was expecting our government. It's not about visiting in a condolence with or to show your sympathy to those that lost their life. Imagine three people being killed and 3,000 people are being displaced of their home and all that, and then there is still absolutely for the past how many years now we have been talking about this herders in a public grazing and all that, and it's not supposed to be. You can't actually be saying that it's a cultural stuff, and then even though you are being allowed to graze, you are still going to the point of destroying farmers' land and then killing them if they try to retaliate or try to acknowledge the fact that what you are doing is not good. This time around, it's not as if it's not where the government needed to just sit and then whenever the tragic happened, they have to come in and then say that they want to pay condolence visit to the affected family or visit the part of the state that is being affected. No, this time around, it has to give a strict warning to all those headers that if they are not ready to have a ranches, they should leave the country. Some of them are not Nigerian, they're from Niger. Now it was being now it's TV people. How long they're still going to be spreading around, and then the next thing we don't even know how to conquer this anymore.
But I think this is actually it's really getting out of hand in the country. I think we've had a little for a while now about the herdsmen. Now the herdsmen are coming back again. The Fulani herdsmen are coming back again to actually go into places displaying for families and property, taking grabbing away lands. Now the thief have come outside to say this is about land grabbing for them to steal their land and everything. I think we really need to strengthen our security when it comes to things like this to
Exactly.
avert things like this from happening again. We are moving up to our next story today from the Punch. Man arrested for converting home to abattoir in Lagos. Officials of the Lagos State Ministry of Environment has arrested a man identified undisclosed for converting a residential building in the Iju area of the state into a legal abattoir. Gathered from the statement by the Commissioner of Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, on Monday that suspect turned his residence located on Alfred William Street, Iju Station, into a slaughterhouse following the closure of the Oko Oba Abattoir Agege. The illegal operation said to have been carried out in an unhygienic condition reportedly endangered residents in the community who raised the alarm. Wahab in a post on his X said the property had been sealed and the suspects taken into custody. Wahab said following reports from the concerned citizen, our enforcement team has taken immediate action at number 2 Alfred William Street in Iju Station. The property owned had illegally converted its residents into abattoir following the closure of the Oko Oba abattoir, endangering the entire neighborhood through unhygienic practice and profiting from the reckless operation.
Well, I would say that the state at which everything is actually going on now, you see some people turning their home into, let me say, school, turn their home into, let me say, shops and all that, all in the name that they can't afford it. There was a friend of mine that is actually in one of the Lagos shop, and then he says that a very tiny and a mini shop, like he's paying over 600,000 naira every month for it, and then you can imagine the exhaustion. So it's not as if, what he did is actually bad because the neighborhood there are actually in danger in his act of that, and then it's not supposed to be. And I feels like the how will I say the let me say the abattoir group and all that had one that actually feel threatening about it. And then if I told he was actually in a like engagement with them, and then they actually know about it, I feels like this thing would have been going into a silent way. Even the environmental minister will not even know about it, and then just have gone on. But it's actually a very bad one doing something like that, and then it feels like the environmental ministry is not going to find out when every other residents are actually having a, let me say, air pollution already, because it's going to pollute the air and then and all that. So it's sad for that to be happening.
Well, I think it's to me it's even wrong to be even heard about turning a resident to an abattoir. So we know how the kind of smell and the unhygienic way all this can how even abattoir even looks like when it comes to blood of dead animals, the flies, the parasite that comes in to eat leftover blood, take leftover flesh, all those things. Just imagine that kind of thing happening in the compound where people stay or close to a residence where people stay. It's actually very, very uncomfortable. We can't even talk about the smell of dead animals, talk less of the kind of way everywhere is going to be looking. I think this is actually something. I like the step taken by the Lagos State Environmental Council to be able to move swift into action and close that resident. All right, moving up to our next story for you today from Punch. Nigerians in China protects very appealing acts by fellow citizens. Some Nigerians residing in Guangzhou, southern China, have called out their fellow countrymen over what they describe as actions that continue to tarnish the image of Nigeria and its people abroad. In a viral video seen by Punch Merch on Monday, a member of the Nigerian community who spoke on behalf of a group who did not give his name expressed frustration over recurring cases of street fights, cult-related violence, and other forms of misconduct allegedly perpetrated by some Nigerians in the area. Fellow Nigerians, good evening. What is happening in the street of Guangzhou is very, very appealing. We must speak the truth and say it the way it is. The truth of the matter is that every action has consequence, the speaker said. He accused some Nigerians of deliberately tarnishing the country's image through reckless behavior despite being allowed to live and work abroad. He continued a lot of it's he continued rather a lot of time people are using their hands to destroy the image of Nigerian here. Now we see videos of fighting, of cultism, and all the rest of them. You bought a ticket and got a visa, and you are doing in China is fighting, causing nuisance. Wow. I can't even believe. I can't. To me, I see it as. I finally find it hard to
As a
believe that you will
very
leave this
bad
country.
behavior.
There are some people, so people here actually looking for this means of traveling out of the country, and you saw that means to leave this country and you are going abroad, not even Europe, not even South America. You went to Asia in China to be fighting. Probably you've had the beef before in Nigeria. You got there in China, you started raising cultism issues again. Wow. I think this is very, very funny to me.
Well, I feels like Nigerian has this kind of a thing in them that wherever they go, they don't know how to let the behavior they have back home and left it at back home and then trying to behave to wherever the country they are. I feel they always wanted to carry this of their character with them, the arrogancy, the whatever they are into. And then when they go there, they tend to actually recruit more of them into the same character, and then it gets out of hand. This is not a country that okay, you feel like when you're in Nigeria, you can do whatever you like and then get scot free about it, and nothing is going to be happening. Even if you are being taken to the police custody, if you know someone there, you are going to be released in the next 1 month. But here is an Asia country, European country. We are all hearing of a bad image and bad response whenever it comes to Nigerians that travel outside the country, fighting for causes, defrauding, and all that, and it's really bad. If the Asian country, the China now says that they wanted to stop Nigeria from immigrating to then how are we going to we are going to feel like China is now being too difficult and all that, but we never talk about how we actually displace nuisance in their own country, causing trouble.
So, yes, in Nigeria is always in Nigeria. That character can never leave. But what even baffles me is the fact that you carry it's not even about. I was even expecting the case to be about probably the Nigerians and the Chinese government or the Chinese police or something. But this is a fight happening between Nigerians. I think this is a fight happening between themselves. Probably they had issues in a country before, and you are going to another man's country, carrying cultism on your head, moving into another country where you are supposed to be there working, you'll be given permission to work, permission to live also. You should focus on your life, look for something better to do. We are going there to constitute nuisance in the street of China. And it's actually, and we know Guangzhou to be a very peaceful state in China. We are moving up to our next story today from Vanguard. 12 travelers adopted by armed men in Benue State. No fewer than 12 passengers of state government-owned Benue Link bus have been abducted by armed men with while on transit near Eke on Ugbokolo Utupo Road, Ogbopo local government of Benue. It was gathered that the bus, which was conveying passengers from Abeokuta, Ogun State, was waylaid on Sunday at about 6:30 p.m. by the armed bandits who, after robbing the occupants, marched them into a nearby forest. Confirming the development, the management of Benue Links in the statement by the information officer Johnson Ehi described the incident as unfortunate. The statement read, Benue Link Nigeria Limited regrets to inform the public of an unfortunate incident involving one of their buses with registration number 14B 143BN, which was attacked while en route Makurdi from Abeokuta. The attack occurred around 6:30 p.m. on Sunday at Eke Elenbocho in Ogboku local government.
Wow. This is a sad one. I would say that this is a sad one because I'm not just saying this is a sad one because of this news alone. I'm saying that this is a sad one of how many of these stories we have been reading over and over. Every blessed day we are going to hear a news like this, and it really breaks our hearts. Not just those that the family, the related ones that are being adopted, but every Nigerians that is hearing this. Are going to be feeling sad because right now we don't know what Nigeria has turned into. We don't know how long it's going to take for our leaders to actually put security where it has to be and make sure that every life in Nigeria felt secured and important in the eyes of our leader. But it's very sad to the point that we have been hearing about this not just for a month now, not just for 2 months now, but years, and then there have not been anything being done to actually evacuate all this kidnapping, banditry, terrorism, and all that in a state, in a country that we are, where we have leaders, where we have president, we have senators, we have security personnel, we have everything that every other developed country have, and then we are still lagging behind, and nothing has come into positivity.
Well, it's very very sad that actually happening in Benue again, where we've had so many cases of insecurity, and I think the president actually came out and say he's going to deploy so many insecurities to that state. If the deployment has been done already, we shouldn't be hearing cases about kidnapping still yet in that state. It's actually very very sad. Benue Link. This is actually a transport that was brought in by the Benue State government to actually reduce cost of transit to people. And now, if it seems that if the Benue Link can actually be attacked, so then it's possible that nobody's even as security again. This can happen to everybody. Just imagine after robbing people, they will actually march into the forest and kidnap, collecting their belongings, also using them for ransom again. It's actually the rate at which kidnapping is actually rampaging the country is really very very bad and sad.
It's sad.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our next story today from the Vanguard. Naira appreciates to 1,600 naira per dollar in parallel markets. The naira yesterday appreciated to 1,600 naira per dollar in parallel market from 1,605 per dollar last weekend. But the naira depreciated to 1,550 per dollar in the Nigerian foreign exchange market (NFM). Data published by the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) showed that due exchange rate for the naira rose to 1,550 naira per dollar from 1,547 naira per dollar last weekend, indicating 3 naira appreciation for the naira. Consequently, the margin between the parallel market and the NFM rate narrowed to 50 naira per dollar for 58 per dollar last week, Friday.
Well, I'm still going to say this a little reduction. I'm not going to say this is actually a massive achievement, because there was a time that we have to hear that $1 is even very, very low, that we can even afford everything that we wanted to. Right now, you can't even use how will I even say it's so bad to the point that many people that are earning money don't even know how they are spending their money. When you say that you're earning the minimum wage, you can't even give calculation of how much you have spent, because this dollar of a thing has affected every goods that is being imported, affected the oil sector, affected the goods importation and all that, and then it's not even making any changes, because how much has been deducted from it is just 5 naira, and then I can't even say it's appreciated enough for many those that are living right now in pain and agony to be able to stand up to their feet again. It's not.
Well, I actually miss the old days where dollar was actually 500 naira, when dollar was 350, when dollar was less than around this amount. But it's well, we don't go more because we expect more from our economy. And it goes up and goes down. All right, moving on to our next story we have for you from today. Abia Joint Security Task Force killed alleged cultists in Umahia. A combined security task force codenamed Operation Crush in Abia State has allegedly killed a middle-aged man in Umuahia. Vanguard gathered that the incident occurred at Imo Lane off Owerri Road in Umuahia. However, the state government has described the slain man as a member of a cult group. The deceased, whose identity is yet to be ascertained, was said to have had a misunderstanding with another young man in the neighborhood who invited the security operative. Eyewitness told Vanguard that the deceased fled on sight the security men at the scene shortly afterward. However, the team chased and allegedly fired a shot which caught him in the abdomen and shattered a windscreen of an SUV parked nearby. Media said the victim collapsed in a pool of blood as the operative stood over him for several minutes before leaving the scene. The paternal later rushed him to the Federal Medical Center, Umuahia, where he died before he could receive medical attention. The deceased had a disagreement with the young man who invited the Operation Crush people. When he saw the Operation Crush people, he started running. Wow.
This is a wrong move. I'm going to say it. If you are going to like having to crush people, I think there is a very permit way to actually make a investigation about this person before you actually wanted to shoot at people and then killing them. This is very wrong. If they are working for the government, this is actually a very wrong way. Okay, this is a misunderstanding between two people. If you are going to have an let me say an information about this person that's being a cultist, but you as an operative you haven't confirmed that, but the next thing you wanted to do is to shoot at the person because it's running. What happened to like waiting and then being secure at his residence to wait till he return before you caught this person? Now you just wasted a life because there was an information that this middle-aged person is a cultist. It's really bad. They don't do things like that.
Well, this can be a false accusation. It can be a false news, but I second the motion whereby the operative shouldn't just take laws into their hands. You are firing at someone that is not firing back at you. It's very very wrong. And unharmed, it's very very wrong for you to fire at an unharmed person. It's actually running. There are so many reasons for persons to run. Probably running for being caught or something. If this person was actually firing back at the chasers, then you can say, okay, oh, it's right for you to shoot back at someone firing you, but this person is unarmed, so you don't have the right to shoot at the person. It's actually unprofessional by the security um, agency Operation Crush. All right, moving on to our next story for you today on Vanguard. Lagos plastic ban could trigger job losses, MAN wants. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria (MAN) has warned that the ban of single-use plastic (SUPs) by the Lagos State Ministry of Environment could lead to job losses and trigger economic, operational and social consequences for manufacturers, traders, recyclers and end users. In a statement yesterday, Director General of MAN, Segun Ajani Kadia, called on the Lagos State Government to reconsider the ban of SUPs set to take effect from July 1st, 2025, as part of the state strategy to combat environmental pollution. According to him, banning SUPs would not resolve pollution issues but merely substitute one problem from another, especially without scalable alternatives of infrastructure to support the transition. It is not plastic problem but a waste management failure. It is failures of plastic waste management to lead to pollution, not the material itself, he said. Ajayi Kadia cited a study commissioned by MAN which revealed that 100% of manufacturers surveyed experience fear of job losses and workforce restructuring if the ban is implemented.
Well, I'll say that it's actually about this Lagos State, the environmental they wanted to combat because there's have been a whole lot of the how will I say this unpleasant about on social media that says that the Lagos state is actually very dirty and then it stinks as well. Well, it feels like whatever job losses that I know it's going to cause a lot of job losses and all that. Because, but if you go into Lagos, you're going to see a whole lot of plastic bottles, not just the one that they use in occasion, but you're going to see a lot of plastic bottles, and then that is really weak. They even have those that actually pick plastic around this time, but it's still yet like as polluted as it is, and I feel like even the Ministry of Environmental wanted to try to actually combat this thing so that it does not get out of hand because most drainage right now are being blocked by plastic and that is really affecting the state. So I know it's going to have effect on people that actually they are into this plastic production, but at the same time, I feel like they has to have a cut out of it. Like those that if you're going to occasion, you shouldn't expect to come back with any takeaway. Instead, have your meal there and then that is it. Plastic bag as well. Going to the market and then have a shopping bag is going to be okay. Than all those waste bin and all that. And then some people at home now, if you go to their house, you're going to see a bag full of waste bin. Every time this person goes to the shopping malls and all that, they come back with a lot and lot of
Well,
that.
I think the Lagos State government has not actually seen a fair reason for them to actually ban plastic. I think this is me. I see this as a way of probably um, inflicting suffering to the plastic business, because I don't see any reasons why. I believe in the last 6 months in Lagos, we've seen so many reduction of plastic waste around. If the Lagos State government are complaining about environmental pollution and drainage, lack of drainage, drainage, I tell you, it's not from plastic waste. They
Well,
should actually check another reasons why all these things are being.
I'm going to tell you that plastic, when it is not just about the takeaway, but when you talk about the plastic bottle, the cellophane bag that they use for shopping, if you wanted to buy a tent of 100 naira or 200, you are being given a bag for that things that you bought. And I feels like this thing, if the Lagos environmental ministry wanted to cut this thing, it has to make it as very important that whoever that is going for a shopping should have a shopping bag as well. That you can be reusing it every time. It's washable and it's not just something that you are going to be disposing. If you're going to count it, how many disposable, like a plastic bag and all those plastic bottle, plastic plates and all that selling on the streets, and then everything they use, it contributes a lot to when it comes to blocking the drainage. So if there is going to be a cut in this plastic of a thing, there should be another way to avert it so that it does not cause a job loss for those that is actually manufactured. They can actually manufacture something that it can be reused over and over again, not something that the moment you got something, then it's thrown away. So if they wanted to do that, then they have to cut in another dimension that it's going to favor everybody, both the manufacturer and those that are consuming it. Then it can be safe for everyone. Because you can see in Lagos, there is a heap where there's a lot of trash there. And it's if you're going to like, okay, let you scan, you're going to see a lot and millions of plastic bags that are there, plastic use and all that that are already gathered. So if there is going to be a recycling, there should be a recycling for all this. And if there's going to be a long-lasting plastic use, it's going to be a long-lasting plastic use.
I tell you, recycling plastic has been one of the major moving industry in country now. Recycling has actually gone rampant. There are so many things that can be recycled. Ions are being recycled. Plastics are being recycled. Um, Papers are being recycled. So many things are being recycled. If the Lagos State government are saying plastic is the main reason for them for the drainage cause problem in Lagos State, I tell you, it's a very biased decision for them to make. It's either they have something in against the plastic industry, or probably they feel that the tax being imposed on that plastic industry is not enough for them to ban. If you are banning plastic in Lagos State, you are banning so many things. Then you are stopping Pepsi from selling. You are stopping Coca-Cola from selling. You are stopping so many beverages company from selling. You are stopping Mortina. You are stopping so many companies that sell
Well,
beverages from selling.
I'm going to correct
You
you on
can't
that.
tell you can't the government can't say Pepsi should start selling their things inside nylon.
No, I'm going to correct you on that when I try to say that. Okay, well, there was a video I watched that when you in the outside country, this man, whenever he got a pack of water, a bottled water, after finishing it, it doesn't just throw it on the street. It actually take it back to the store that he bought it and recycle it to them. It's not disposed on the street, but here in Nigeria, when you bought something like that, you don't have a better way to actually recycle it instead of throwing it on the street, and those people that are picking plastic, they have to come and pick it. It can stay there for a whole week or even more than that before it's been picked. So I feel like if those things are going to be put into an end, there should be a means for those that are actually producing plastic, that okay, when you bought this pack, if when you finish it, return it back to us in an easy way, then we can recycle it instead of throwing it on the street. That is going to be an easy way for everything.
I see a system like this one where I see Lagos State government don't really know what is their problem, because at first I think last year Lagos State came outside to say they banned this takeaway. There's this kind of takeaway being used to sell food on the street of Lagos, this fluffy takeaway. Then we had so many news coming in and coming out that it has been a major pollution in the state, blocking drainages. If that fluffy can block drainages, why would they say that block drainages before plastic? Now they are now coming back to plastic to say plastic is the major. I don't think, to me, I don't think plastic is a major. If you are stopping plastic from using plastic in the country, I tell you, in Lagos State, I tell you, so many things are going to go wrong because so many businesses in Lagos State are being done with plastic. Talking about skincare also, talking about so many things, even cream bottles are also in plastic, even some soaps are, so many things are going to stop in Lagos State. It's going to affect so many things, even in the banks. You see, we know banks, even banks, they come in with what's it called, dispensable this is also plastic. So many things are going to stop in Lagos State. I then not telling us that when the government officials are having their own meeting, they will not be using table water as again to drink. They'll be using pure water now. It applies to everybody. If Lagos State wants to ban plastic, I tell you, it's going to affect so many business lines in Lagos State. And Lagos,
That
we know
is,
Lagos State to be the highest users of plastic.
and that is why you still don't get what I just said. I said that if all those things are going to be banned, then those manufacturers needed a simple diversion that if all those things are going to be used, there is someone that is going to be packing those plastic, returning them to their factory and be making use of it.
I believe you should know Nigerians better than this. You can't expect a Nigerian after buying, probably you bought something from the roadside. Okay, I'm inside a commercial vehicle now. Please give me one Pepsi. After buying the Pepsi, I open it, I drink the Pepsi.
Because
You
we are
expect me,
too
no,
careless.
you expect me to take that same Pepsi to the shop where they are retailing the Pepsi because okay, it's not even possible. It can't happen in Lagos. When you see someone buy something and you say you expect the person to take it back to where he bought it to recycle. Throwing this on the, see, I tell you, we have more people now picking recycled table plastic in the street now, and people are making. There was even a time I made a lot of my younger brother and I made a lot of money from this plastic business. Then we go to parties. We have someone that does occasions. After the person, we pack everything, we recycle. There's more business in recycling now. If you have 1 ton of plastic, it's almost 150,000 naira. So many people are making money from these things, and I think if the Lagos State bans this also, it affects that sector of industry again. So many things the Lagos State government really need to look into this. And just look at the timing. So it's less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, even 1 week now, they are trying to impose this kind of law. I don't think it's fair enough, and they really need to consider it. I'm often happy the SUP has actually come out to see into this. At least let's know what's really happening. All right, guys, thank you for joining us today on the Breakfast Show. We've been your host, Steven. Be sure to join us again tomorrow. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms for more news and updates in the world of news. For now, say bye. See you tomorrow.